All right, all right, all right. So I paid off $50,000 in debt in 18 months using the system I like to call debt flow. And here's the crazy part: the average American carries $6,194 in credit card debt and takes 14 years to pay off by making only minimum payments. I'm about to show you how to cut that time by 80% and save you thousands in interest. Okay. So, welcome back, financial warriors. I am so happy that you guys are here. If you commented beast on the last video about Monday Reset, this one is for you. Today, we are diving in on the exact step by step system that took me from drowning in debt to completely debt free, right? This isn't theory. This is the actual battle tested blueprint that worked for me. Okay. So I know it looks a little different. We wanted to go ahead and get this recorded for you and get this out. So I'm super duper excited that you guys are here. For those of you guys that may not know me, my name is Raquel May David, and I help people become a beast in the credit and media streets. And we are literally diving in how to create ourselves a Monday money reset manual to get us to where we need to be. And I want to make sure that you are here keeping track of what's going on. So here's what's really keeping you trapped in debt. And it's not what you think. Most people focus on the math, which debt to pay off first, what interest rate to target. But the real problem is that debt payoff feels like a punishment. Every payment feels like you're throwing money into this black hole with no progress to show for it. So you make $200, $20 payments, $50, $100, right, towards your balance, but it barely moves. So you get the motivation for a few weeks, then life happens, car repairs, medical bills, your children decide to get in trouble. And suddenly you're back to where you started, feeling like a complete failure. So we want to make sure that we change that, right? Traditionally, the advice that is given to you is pay the minimum payment for everything except for the highest interest. It sounds logical, right? But what happens is when your highest rate of debt has a $15,000 balance, you making minimum payments for the month with no win. It doesn't give you any psychological win or momentum or proof that this is actually working. And we want to go ahead and make sure that we celebrate those wins and we get our minds. And I think a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but you have to get your mind psychologically ready for the money shift that you're creating, that you're already going to bring into your space, right? So in order for us to do that, we want to have like real conversations, right? This is why the psychological wins that you actually need, the reason why this is not working is because people who start paying off debts quit within the first 6 months. They're using a system designed for spreadsheets and not human psychology. We need a system that feeds your momentum while you're building the momentum on the ground level. And that is why we entered the debt flow. It's a hybrid system that combines the best of psychology and mathematics. And here's how it works in 4 stages. If y'all are ready for it, go ahead and drop a 4, drop a 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Look, I love it. Drop a 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Let's talk about it. So phase 1 is quick win setup. List all of your debts, but ignore the balances for now. Pick the smallest debt, right? That could be a $300 medical bill. It could be a $250 credit card. It could be a $500 store card, right? Attack this with everything that you have for the next 30 days. All right. Now you can, again, for my entrepreneurs that are out here, okay, for my side hustlers, grinders that are out here making magic happen, we want to go ahead and make sure that we are selling something. Pick up a side gig, cut some expenses. I think a lot of people don't have this conversation, but I like to tell you, like, all my kids are on my like Netflix or Hulu, right? But my son, I think my son ended up paying for like ad-free Hulu. So I was like, well, why am I paying for Hulu if you got ad-free? I'm going to cancel mine. I'm going to get on yours because you were on mine, right? And we all live together. Think about ways to go ahead and get that fast debt quickly gone. Okay. Want to go ahead and say that again. So you're going to look at your smallest debt. Hold on, y'all. I want to make sure that I don't have, yeah, there we go. Do not disturb is on. Look at your smallest debt, right? I don't care what that number is. And we are going to go ahead and for the next 30 days, that is what we're going to look to cut out. Okay. That is what we're going to use as a start, as a pivot. I don't know, like I like to use weight loss as my metrics because I remember when I was trying to lose weight, a lot of times we lose that momentum when we're trying to lose weight because of the fact that we're not seeing it. Right. But then when I would put on my clothes and there'd be gaps, I'm like, oh, I'm actually losing some weight. Right. That's what we're doing when we're taking that small amount and we're focusing on that one particular bill. That is going to give us a small win that will keep us moving forward. Right. Phase two. Go ahead and drop a 222 in the chat. Drop a 222222222 in the chat. Let's talk about it. Phase two, the momentum builder. Now that you've got proof of concept that the system actually works, we're going to take that momentum, that minimum payment from the debt that you just killed and you just got, that you just got knocked off. And we're going to add it to the next smallest balance. But here's a twist. If there is a huge gap between your smallest balance and your next target, right? Let's say the first one was $300 to $500, but the next one you have is $2,000, right? We're going to go ahead and make sure that we are not creating an unstable view. That one may not be 30 days. That one may take resetting yourself to a 90-day goal, right? So that way you're now saying by this time, I'd like to have 10% paid off, 15%, right? Or you can do it as 25%, 25%, 25%, whatever you're comfortable with to go ahead and make sure that you are not creating an unhealthy reset to what you got going on. Okay. Phase three. Y'all ready for phase three? Okay. Phase three, the avalanche shift. Okay. Once you've killed 2 or 3 small debts, because I think a lot of people have like those $200, $500 credit cards, right? Once you've killed off, knocked out, should I say killed? Once you have knocked out those particular smaller debts, right? Now we are going to switch to the avalanche method. So originally we were doing a snowball method where we were starting with the lower ones and get it to the high ones. We're now going to flip the script and we are going to do the avalanche. And this is going to build serious momentum by pouring in that same method that you have. Because remember, guys, you now have this available credit sitting there. You now have monthly money that's coming in that instead of you paying those smaller cards, you're going to shift it to that $5,000 balance or that $3,000 balance card, right? And when you go ahead and you attack that, that will go ahead and give your psyche the momentum it needs to handle the larger balance. And then the scale starts tipping a little bit for you. Okay. One of the big tips, well, let me get through tip 4 and then we're going to have a real dialogue about mindset, money, and how we're going to integrate those together, right? Now, phase 4 is the final push. When you are down to the last 1 to 2 debts, you're going to go all in. You're going to give every extra dollar that you have that can come in. And again, we're going to be clear. So let's say you're an Uber driver, right? There's a set amount of money that you have to have for gas. Of course, you have your money for bills. So let's say, like I have a girlfriend who drives Uber. She does not get off the road until she hits a $200 goal each day she drives. So every day that she drives, her goal is $200. Well, she wanted to add $100 to her credit card. So she says now her daily goal is $300, right? Or if instead of it being $300, you could say at the end of the month, I want to make $100 extra for it to go to this particular bill. You can break it down week by week. And when you make that money, put it aside. And if you end up making more, then you have even more capital that you can dump in there, right? But you're going to go ahead and look at what exactly do you have that has to be covered. And then you're going to set yourself a budget as to, okay, outside of what I have to make to pay back for these items, right? Because if you're driving for Uber, you got to put gas in your car. So how much are you spending on gas? How much do you want to, because you're going to be taking from the profits, not just from all the earnings, right? So you're going to look at that, and that's where you're going to go ahead and do a sprint to the finish line by understanding this is how much I need to make. This is how much I need to go ahead and build off of in order for me to hit that goal. So if your goal is to say, I'm going to put an extra $300 each month onto my credit card, then there's 4 weeks in a month. You're going to go ahead and say, well, I need to make $75 a week, right? If you're wanting to do less than that, right? You're going to gauge what that extra compensation needs to be. And don't make it be, I have to make it all this week, because that will make you feel like you're not accomplished. And all too many times we are knocking ourselves out when we really can make this happen, right? Now, but here's the secret sauce that I want to go ahead and talk about that makes the system unstoppable. There is a debt victory tracker, and I will go ahead and make sure to drop it in the link so you guys have it, that most people track their balances going down, which feels slow and depressing, right? But we're not going to use that type of method. Our tracker is going to give us the momentum that we need to track our victories. So we're going to have a debt victory tracker, right? This is creating a visual representation of your debt payoff journey. I used a simple chart with like 50 boxes. Each box represented like $1,000 of debt that was being paid off. Every time I paid off another $1,000, I colored the box in. I know it sounds really, really simple, but I promise you it's a game changing for psychology. And when you force yourself, when you focus on the balances decreasing, you see how far you still have to go. But when you track the victories and you accumulate those, you see how far you've already come. That shift in perspective is the difference between quitting and pushing through. Again, I'm going to always use my weight loss journey as the matrix, because I remember when I was like 315 pounds and I got to like 230 and I was like, oh, I'm big. And then one day I put on an outfit that was like my most comfy outfit when I was at my highest size, and it swallowed me up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I lost that much weight. Sidebar, I didn't realize I was that big either. But that ain't the point. Now, here's the compound effect. Every box that you fill in, you'll feel more and more confident. You'll feel more and more committed, and you're more willing to make sacrifices to hit the end goal that you have, because you're feeling that weight come up off your chest. I pair up the feeling of COPD. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that commercial where it's like an elephant sitting on your chest. I feel like that's what debt is. Whenever we feel the pressure of, this is how much I spent and I did not spend it properly, or I did not even allocate it the way that I needed it to, I think that we get caught up and we feel like we can't breathe. But if you're creating these winning victories, right? Instead of just saying, oh, I'm paying it off, but you're seeing how you can get those yeses. And one of the biggest yeses that my clients get is always when they can close on a car for a lower monthly payment. Their interest rate is really good, right? What is going to be that success matrix for you while you're seeing your scores go up, right? You're now looking appealing for people to invest with you, because you always want to get funding whenever you don't need it, right? Not when you do. But looking through those lens, how are you going to be able to make the pivot? Understand you're willing to make those sacrifices. And I heard someone say before, like, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. I don't feel that way. Like, I feel like there's a level of confidence you feel once you get into the skin that you've been looking for. And that is the same thing when you get into your financial skin. When you're hitting your financial strides and all you're getting is yes, when you're applying for funding, you're getting the right interest rates, and you're looking at, okay, so even if this interest rate isn't for me, how am I going to be able to double down to make sure that on the back end, I'm not paying all that much interest, right? And we talk about that on the channel. So make sure you lock in, okay? But you can start identifying as someone who pays off debt, not someone who carries it, and you can make the decision differently because your identity has shifted, right? The real magic happens right around the 30% mark, especially if you're over the limit, guys. So I'm going to drop this tip. If you are at 50% utilization on your cards and you go and get a trade line, that's great. That's wonderful to have your auntie put you on this card and put you on that card. But you want to make sure that you are having the right principles for the cards that you currently have. Once you are getting and you're trending and you're at 100% utilization, quick tip: if you are over 100% utilization, you're going to pay the minimum balance times 2 plus $4. Okay, that will create breathing room to where when the interest hits again, when your statement date closes, you are not putting yourself in a situation where you're back over the limit. So minimum payment times 2, excuse me, I've been talking too much, times 2 plus $4, right? That's what you're going to leverage in order to make sure that you are hitting your goals to help lower and lower and lower your debt. So even if you're like, I don't really know how much I can pay, I don't really know if I have a lot of breathing room. If your minimum payment is $40, your minimum payment is $20, go ahead and use that same principle to make sure that you're lowering your debt. Minimum payment times 2 plus $4, right? That's an easy, simple chant to get you lower and lower and lower in the sense of what you have an outstanding balance in a quicker time span, right? Sorry, yeah. So again, we're going to make sure that we're creating the magic. We're clicking the psychology of how you feel about money and how you are now safe with money. You are a good steward, right? That's one of the affirmations I used to say, is that God trusts me with money. I'm a good steward with money. I'm able to bring in and circulate money. So money is safe with me. I am safe with money. I make good financial decisions. Like, those were affirmations that I was saying while I was doing it. So it wasn't just motivation, it was action, right? An actionable plan that I was putting in focus. And you'll be debt free, but you'll stop asking yourself, when am I going to be debt free? Is this going to be something possible for me? It is. You have the tools and the resources to make this happen for yourself, right? Now, the debt flow isn't just about paying off debt faster. It's about building a financial confidence and habits that will keep you debt-free for life. Quick wins build momentum, strategies targeting maximizing impact, and victory tracking keeps you motivated through the actual marathon, right? So your debt payoff journey can actually start right now. Go ahead and comment below with your total debt amount and your smallest debt. Let's build this community together. And if you're ready to implement the debt flow system and your victory tracker, let's go ahead and get this credit together. Comment credit, smash the subscribe button, because next week we're revealing an income accelerating strategy that helped me cut my debt payoff time in half. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your people so that they can enter in the room and start making massive financial Monday money resets with you. Later.